Hello, everyone. Hello, 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 hello. Okay, they're on. Right. Hello, everyone. Mommy, are you taking this or should I take this?
You can go ahead.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our segment today. We had such a wonderful time. In fact, we've had such a wonderful time with you guys, and that's why we always look forward to coming here on Sundays to chat with you, to commune with you. This is like our own little teachers' fellowship, and we're fellowshipping with people of like-minded character, people like-minded interests, and all of that. So we welcome you to today's segment. Last week, we talked about parenting in the diaspora, how to keep traditions and cultures alive, especially when you look like us. And over the week, we got a few more questions from people asking if we could concentrate on teenagers, because it seems like we try to talk generally, but there's a particular emphasis on teenagers because we know that, when they get to teenage years, their hormones start to go, you know, I know what I was like when I was a teenager. Mom, if you're watching this, I am sorry. Forgive me from the bottom of my heart. And you know you love me despite every drama that I gave you. So I learned a lot from when I was a teenager and how my mom coped with everything that I went through. And I try to incorporate it in my children. I've got a 22-year-old and a 17-year-old. So, yes, it has not been an easy ride, but I feel blessed. Today, I've got a wonderful co moderator. She has been with me on this journey. We're both teachers, we're both mothers, we're both wives, we're both experts in the diaspora, teaching and bringing up the next generation of leaders. I'll let her introduce herself in case you're new on this channel.
Hello, guys. You're welcome to our live session today. My name is Omowumi of Omowumi's channel. I have a YouTube channel where I talk about life abroad, teaching abroad, and I'm a licensed teacher in Nigeria, and I also have the license to teach in the United Kingdom. So you're welcome to this video, guys.
Thank you, Mommy. Welcome. Do you know what? Today, someone said I never introduced myself. I'm sorry. I will introduce myself properly today. My name is Janet. I'm an EYFS trained teacher, Nigerian, from the southern part and the northern part of Nigeria because my parents are from two different parts of the world of Nigeria. It gave me a third culture sense of upbringing, and I have used that in the classroom. Being a child who is belongs to one culture and thrives in another culture. I currently teach a group of fantastic, amazing year four children who are between 8 to 9 year olds. I have worked in 9 countries across 6 continents, and this has given me the chance to blend aspects of my childhood, growing up as a third culture child myself, with children who are at these international schools where I have taught. I am now bringing all of that experience to my channel to show people and inspire people to join teaching, to see the beauty of being an expert teacher, to understand the need for teachers who look like me, and hopefully guide them on a few things as they come into this profession abroad. Today, Momi and I are using that same experience to show you how to be a teacher and a mom. Because who's a teacher? A teacher is someone who has pastoral care over children in their classrooms. A mom is someone who has pastoral care over blessings that God has given us. So we try to marry these two things together and try to provide the best experience for the children that we come across in our lifetime. Mommy, have you seen that video? There was this video recently. I think it was on Teacher Appreciation Day where they showed Adele, they showed Usher, they showed a few actresses and musicians talking about the teachers who made meaning in their lives. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
You've not seen it. Oh my goodness, we need to share it with you guys on the channel, and I will send it to you on our little WhatsApp group behind. It brought tears to my eyes because you find out that the teachers who really make meaning in children's lives are not the teachers who are the strictest. They're not the
Mm,
teachers who are the best knowledgeable people. They're just teachers who understand their students to the
yeah.
point where they understand that a student is not just a student in the classroom. A student goes beyond the four walls of a classroom. He's a child. Is a citizen. He's someone who has, accountability for himself. And there are little things that happen to that student that makes the student who the student is. And I really love that. As mothers, we have the same duty to understand our children, understand how they feel when we take them out of one culture into another, and understand how everything comes together to make them who they are, where they don't really belong to one culture anymore and they don't belong to this new culture. So they're somewhere in the middle, and we have to marry this little difference that they have in the world that they are in and try to ease the way for them. How do you cope with your children, Mommy?
Well,
Was
because I'll say from last week we talked about we emphasized on the younger children, and I think that was why the person asked the question about teenagers. So I'll say
yes,
with, because mine are younger, because they are younger children, you still have some. I talked about last week. I talked about naughty corner. You can still use that for younger kids when they are older. You cannot tell them to go to the.
yes.
They wouldn't even answer you. So you can still use that for younger kids. Go to the naughty corner. Naughty corner means you're going the way we do in I would say in Nigeria, because I'm a Nigerian. Like you telling your child, go to that corner, probably raise up your hands, face the wall. Yeah, that is a naughty corner. So they're not going to probably watch TV at that time. Probably you're facing the wall. So yes, that is what naughty corner is. You're being naughty. You're going to a naughty corner. You can we also use I also use grounded. When your offense is a big one, you'll be grounded. Grounded means
Yes,
you can use grounded for teenagers in terms of, in which I talked about last week, probably taking them off their phone. But for younger ones, grounded, you can tell them to go to their room. They're not watching TV. They're not going to play on their iPad.
yes,
For me, I didn't buy iPad for my kids, not because I don't have the money to, or not because I'm not capable, but that is my own way of training my children. I haven't got them one yet. So we all watch.
yes. It's just a principle.
I yes, it's just a principle, and I train them that way in such that when they watch the TV, they know, okay, is this person's turn? It's just like they're already taking responsibility for themselves. They know when it's someone's turn and say, okay, it's your turn, then we have to watch your own program. That's how they rotate it within them. Then, okay, it's your turn now, then all of us, we have to watch your program. So it's just like taking responsibility. And then I just want to train them that way for now. So you can
Yeah,
also develop your own way of training your children, especially in this part of the world, because there are in which we discussed last week, there are some things that are not acceptable here and some things you shouldn't do. Yeah, we talked about school last week. If you're not here last week, the recorded version is on our channel. You can go
it
and watch
is.
that. We talk about schools, we talk about lots of things. But today, just because of the question that's been raised for teenagers and then some other things we're going to be talking about, raising a teenager is actually way different from raising younger kids.
Yes,
Like Jay started, for me as well, when I was a teenager, I'll just tell my parents it was my dad that understood me quickly. Probably because though both had teachers, but with even though if you're a teacher, we all have different ways. I would say some teachers are also psychologists, and I'll call my dad.
yes.
I think I got that aspect from him.
From him.
So he understood me more better than my mom. I also did. In fact, I okay. If you're watching this later, later in future, forgive us, our parents. Yeah, you know that teenage age, you just feel like you've arrived. You can talk to me, and that is how your kids will be at that age. Those are teenagers, and I think with teenagers, because I deal with them in school, I deal with them at in the church too. I mentioned that last week that I'm also a teenage teacher in church. I could see
Yes.
with teenagers, you have to be patient. It's just like we spoke about during the behavioral management
Yes.
session here, whereby we said you have to be strict and warm. That's with teenagers. You have to be
Yes.
strict, you have to be warm. And then for me, I think before I will allow Jay to talk about, because she has gone through that stage, so she has the experience. Yes, she has teenagers. In fact, she has those that are older than teenagers, so she will be able to tell us more about that. So before
Yes,
I go
I
into
do.
that, I would say with teenagers, you have to speak to them. You have to constantly talk to them about things. Don't just believe you
I
should know
do.
this is, yeah, don't just assume that this is they should know this. You have to speak with them. I'll give an example in which I'm not proud of. When I was a teenager, my friend wanted my friend wanted to celebrate her birthday party. Fine, it was in her parents' house. We didn't do anything funny. I wasn't naughty, but I couldn't tell my parents because I felt they wouldn't allow me to go.
Allow you. Yeah.
And I love my friends so much. It was in a house, our parents were there. And I was in Nigeria, we do what we call extra coaching, which happens every Saturday. We go
Yeah.
to school Monday to Friday, and then we have the coaching Saturdays. That particular Saturday of my friend's birthday, there was no coaching. So I just told my parents I'm going for coaching.
Gucci.
Yeah.
Mommy.
So I left. We went there. We went there. Okay, we had the cake. Our parents were there. They were like, "Oh, our parents is also a professor," because I said it on this channel once. My dad is a professor. He was even
Yes.
asking after my dad. I was like, "Hey, I hope this this man will not go and tell me."
Big brother is always watching. Ah!
So, well, we left. We went back home. Now, unfortunately for me, I didn't. I didn't get back home on time.
Yes.
I didn't get back home on time. So I didn't get back home on time, and that's like that. They knew eventually that that was what happened. So I could not see. My mom was shouting and all. She was going on and about. My dad didn't see anything. He was just looking. I was surprised that I didn't see anything. That I was just there sitting and looking at me.
Just allowing you to hang yourself.
Ex- Exactly. So after all the drama and all that, I went into my room. And okay, that day went. So the following morning, very early, my dad came to call me. If I thought I was in for it. For in my mind, I was like, oh, I'm dead. So he
Yes.
just called me, and then he said, sit down. I sat down, and he said, you're not a teenager. You know that? I said, yes. I think I was around 15. I said, yes. And he said, okay, whenever you're going, okay, because I already explained, oh, this is where I went to. Even Professor so was around. He was, so he now called me, said, why didn't you tell us?
Oh.
So I told him, I said, I thought you wouldn't allow me to go, and I really wish to go. So he told
Oh.
me, that is not a problem. We talked about it. He didn't even, he wasn't mad at all. He just said, let's talk about it. You should have told me. We should have talked about it. If
Yeah.
I would allow you to go, I will just give you time. Okay, don't come back late. Don't do this. And
Yeah.
since then, honestly, even if I want to go to a place I knew probably they wouldn't allow, I wouldn't go through my mom because my mom she's my best. I won't even bother going through her. I'll just go to my dad
Because you're
straight. My
sad.
dad will say, okay, then he would ask me questions. Okay, what's going on? What's going on there? Who are the people that will be there? If he feels it's safe, he will allow me to go. If he feels it's not safe, he will give me reasons and I will reason along. And that is how to deal with a teenager. But if they
Yes.
come to you and just said, no, 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 you cannot, they will find means. That is
They will
just what I
speak
want.
behind your back. Yes.
Exactly. They will find means to go. If they didn't, if I had come back earlier, they wouldn't know. They'll just felt I've gone for the coaching, whatever.
Yes.
So I'll
Do you
allow
know
Jay, I'll allow Jay to speak at this point.
what you just said now is giving me vibes of what I am like with my children. I'm a very laid back mom, but laid back but strict. I'm a helicopter mom, but I'm laid back as well. If that gives you, if that makes sense. With my children, I try as much as possible to remember what it was like when I was a teenager as well. Now, there are two things for me to do if I remember how what I was like as a teenager, because I remember that I was a handful as a teenager, and because I was a handful, I can do two things. I can either remember what I was like and try to checkmate them, because I will say, I remember when I was a teenager, I did this, I did this, I did this. And so I would like to, I'll try to be two steps ahead of them and try to bracket them. But I won't get very far with them because my mom was strict. But even though my mom was strict, I still did a lot of things when I was a teenager. From when I turned, I think about 13, 14. I had my first kiss when I was 13. Yes, because I decided that there was this boy that I really liked, and he liked me. And in my head, I had practice. I had this dream that we're going to get married, and he was my mom's friend's son, and so we used to go to their house on Sundays, or they would come to our house on Sundays. But I just imagined in my head that I'm going to marry him, so I'm going to start practicing what it's like to marry at this age. So you can imagine if I now if I'm when I became a mom myself, if I now decide every time I go to a friend's house and this friend has a son, and I remember what I was like, and then I'm on my daughter all the time, she and I will not have a good relationship.
Yeah.
Instead, I decided that I was going to be as free as possible, but I'm going to educate them as much as I can. So when my children turned 13, even though they had sex education at school, I always gave them sex education at home.
Yeah, that's the
You will see
best.
me, I will be with the banana or the cucumber and the condom. I will be with all the different contraceptives. I'm a science teacher myself. I did microbiology. So that's when STDs, they know everything about that. The reason why I'm doing that is because I'd rather they hear the truth from me inside the
Yeah.
house than
Mm-hmm.
for them to hear it outside the house. Because if they hear it outside of the house, then they will hear it in a different way. They might not
Mm-hmm.
even hear the correct story. It might be Chinese whispers, or it might be not Chinese whispers. Let me not say something that will get me cancelled. It might be something that it will be this person said, this person said, this person said, and it might not be the truth, because at that age, what do they really know? They don't know everything. They're just experimenting themselves. So but before I can do that, I have to create that environment where they can talk to me and I can talk to them. Because if they can't talk to me and one day I just grab them and say, okay, come and sit down, I have to tell you everything about condoms and contraceptives and keeping yourself
Yeah.
safe. You know, I remember when I was young, up until I was 19, my mom's rule was you wake up in the morning, you pray, you go to school, you come back, you do your homework, then we go for evening, like an evening mass for those who are Catholics. You know what I mean? We had prayer time. We had prayer time 3 or 4 times a day. I think my mom was trying to make us so deep into Christianity that we will not even think about anything else. It's
Mm.
biology. I tell my children it's biology. It's normal. The Bible says, go into the world and multiply. How would you go into the world and multiply if you do not start feeling in a particular way at a particular time? It is
Mm.
biology, and it is inevitable. It will happen to you. So the worst thing I can do is trying to pretend it doesn't happen. The best thing I can do is to know that it will happen, but I need to get them prepared for when it happens.
Mm. Yeah.
Now, on this side of the world, parents are very free and they talk to children in a free way.
Mm.
Where we come from, it's as if we pretend that that thing doesn't happen, and then
That
suddenly
doesn't exist.
Exactly. And then suddenly, when the child turns 20, then you start saying, hey, where's the man? Where's the husband? You should bring the
Mm,
husband home. Uh, Yesterday I was 19. You told me don't go near boys. Today I'm 20.
mm,
Suddenly, bring the husband. There's no in between. So I try to think about that, and I try to create the in between. One, because of where we live and the openness of parents here, and two, because I know where I'm coming from and I know how closed parents are over there.
mm,
Because I build a relationship with them and I try to tell them as much as I can. And I say it in a way that I'm not joking, and I'm not using another word for vagina, for example. I'm
mhm,
not using another word for penis, for example. I call it the
mhm.
scientific name. So we are talking facts, we're talking science, we're talking what we should talk about.
Yeah.
But when they turn 16, we have another talk. So 13, when they
Mm,
start going through puberty, we have the first talk.
mm,
16, we have another talk.
mhm,
18, you are now an adult, we have another talk. There's something else I do with my children. After paying when my salary enters into my account, my children handle the budget for the house. Why do they
mm,
handle the budget for the house? Where do they get the practice? So if my salary
mm,
finishes before the end of the month, I look at them.
mhm,
"Ah, you guys handle the budget. My son
mhm,
has my card. My daughter has my other card. So both of them have my card. And if I need money, I go to them and I tell them. And they ask me, what do you need it for? And we have that talk of want and need, so that they
mm,
know this is a want, this is a need. That means this one I cannot do without it, like food,
mhm,
bills, and all those kind of things. And this is a want. For example, I want a new iPhone. Do I really need it? They have to get,
mm,
we sit down and we talk about it. Did it come just like that? Not really. It had to build over time. It was, first of all, from the little things they did as children, in me putting my trust in them. Then it starts to grow and grow, so that I can talk to them about anything. They can talk to me about, oh, I like that boy. Oh, really? Do you like that boy? What do you like about him? And we talk about things like, what are the prospects? What do you really like about him? Is it your biology pushing you, or is it your sense pushing you? There's a difference between mother nature pushing you because it's that time of the month, or you really liking this person because he's intellectual, or what does he add to you, what do you guys have in common. So my children are more mature than their age, if I might say. They handle the budget of my house. They know that this money I have is all the money I have. If it finishes, it finishes. They know also that we need an emergency fund, because we might do things and money will finish before the end of the month. Then they look at me and I'm telling them, don't look at me. You had my salary. What did you do with my salary? That kind of thing. Of course, for me to do that, I have an emergency fund in case in case they fail, because they are still children at the end of the day. But they see how much of my money comes into my account. They know that they have to pay tithes first. They know they have to pay themselves first. That's savings account. Money has to go into the savings account. Whether it's raining, whether it's sunny, money has to go into the savings account. They know that after that, we have to pay bills. Then after that, we then sit down and say, okay, what do we need? What do we want after that? It took them a few mishaps where they failed once or twice. Oh, we didn't budget that, and it's almost the end of the month. There's no other money. We'll sit down, we'll drink Gary, or we'll eat something, we'll manage. And if I give you something that you don't like to eat, remember you were in charge of the salary this month. I wanted to give them that sense of knowing that, look, this is all the money you have, and you have to live within this means, because you saw when you know when the salary entered the account. You have my account details with you. I also did that because we've lived in different parts of the world. I wanted them to have access to money in case anything happened to me, so that they have access to money that they can use to either fly back to Nigeria in case anything happens to me, or they can quickly call an auntie. They have emergency contact numbers, my husband's number, that kind of thing. all these things come into getting to know the kind of children you are. Somebody asked me once and said, but aren't you afraid that the child will run away with all of the money? I said, no, we've built the trust. If you've built the trust to that point, then everything becomes easy. You know how behavior management in the class, if you set the rules at the beginning, then everything becomes easy after that. It comes in when they are younger and you start to give them little bits of responsibility in the class, in the house, that they then build upon until they become teenagers and then adults. Now my son is 22 now, and honestly, I know all moms say that, but I am really proud of the man he has become, because he took a few years off from school and said he wanted to first go into the industry to see what he really, if this thing he wanted to do, how does it work in the industry? Then he will go to university. So he got his admission, he deferred it, went into the industry, worked from his way, volunteered for about a year, then worked for about 2 years, and then went to university. So, yes, and this was us moving from one country to the other, gathering all this knowledge, understanding that we will fail, but just because we failed doesn't mean we stayed down. We have to find our way back up and keep living, because we have to learn as we go, and mistakes help us learn. So that's what I've done with my children. So I really like what your dad has done, because he didn't lose his cool. He understood, yes, you have to make mistakes and then learn from it. It's not about the shouting. The shouting does not help. I don't understand parents who shout, but I guess that's how they want to express themselves. But the faster we start to learn that shouting doesn't help, and we have to move forward and actually get the child to understand what it is we want them to understand instead of shouting, it goes a longer way than just shouting. Ah! I think another thing that I try to do, even though it's the hardest thing as a parent, is not have favorites, and understand that this child is different from this child. They might have both come from me, but they are both as different as my children are like chalk and cheese. One is one way and the other one is the other way. But in their moral core is still the same, even though each person has their own likes, each person has their own way of doing things, each person has their, and I don't come into the house and see one thing and then shout at everybody. No. I try to address the one person that I feel, okay, this is the person that needs maybe a little bit more correction. And then the other one, I won't transfer the aggression to the other one. Woo, teenagers, it's hard, but we have to learn how to do it. It doesn't happen in a day.
Yeah, it doesn't. And I think someone asked on your channel as well that what are the behavior management for teenagers? Like how do you handle teenagers? Just like we have said, be friendly with them. Like the teenagers I deal with in church, in the community, in schools, is like I come down to their level.
Yes.
Now, someone asked in one of our videos that I think one of our live session about okay, when we're talking about physical contact with students, someone asked what about fist bump. I do that sometimes just to make them feel, oh, auntie is in our,
Yeah.
she feels what we feel. Oh, our auntie can roll with us. Oh
Yes.
yes, they will
Yeah.
feel comfortable around you. That's teenagers. They'll feel, oh, okay, she has come down to a level. Okay, it's not that her eyes is always up or her face is always up. You talk to
Yeah.
them, you chat with them, you talk, you say things that they can relate with. I still spoke with some today that they can relate with. They will be so happy. You will see the joy on their face when you talk about things they can relate, not just you talking about okay, morals all the time, obedience all the time, blah. But when you talk about things they can relate with,
Yeah.
that is where the strict and warm comes in. When you talk about things they can relate with, they will relate with you well. And then the strict part, they will know, okay, when you do this, and auntie will be mad. They will know you're friendly with them. But when they go, when they go, I'll say when they cross their boundary, they know, oh, okay, auntie will be mad with this. So teenagers
Yes.
Teenagers are very interesting to deal with. They have very it can be a very crucial stage, but with I'll just say with a lot of communication.
Yes. Yes, it
And then
is.
in terms of behavior management, a lot of people, I think it depends on your child and depends on your home and depends on the behavior management you think will work for your child. I'll say back in Africa, okay, we legally is acceptable in Africa. In some parts of Africa, you can use physical contact. A lot of people will know what I'm talking about. In which it doesn't work with all kids.
No,
It doesn't work with all kids.
no.
I have a younger brother. Then when we were younger, you would ask him, my dad would just ask him, okay, go and get me some things so that I can train you. You've done something wrong so that I can use this as a punishment and all that. And he will go and get the hardest thing in the household.
Wow.
We will be like, is this boy mad? Is he okay? And he will not even cry. You will just, and he will just go into his room and that's it. Later, because I said it earlier, my dad is a psychologist. He knew this is not working for this boy.
No, it doesn't.
So, and it stopped. If I didn't even go for long. And my dad don't usually use physical contact. But that before you can use it, that means you've done that. Your matter was already, is already cool. Is already hot in the cooler. So you've done like a lot of things
Wow.
for that time. So he was like, oh no, this is not working for this boy. And then he tried the communication part. So he did
It
that.
did work.
I said he tried the communication part. So he did that one time, and then he saw he was so furious, he was so down, and then I was like, oh, okay, I think the communication part is the one that will work for this,
Work
and that
fast.
was the last time in the case of physical contact because the communication part was working more. So you have to
Wow.
know that is how, and some children in some parts of Africa, until you give them that physical contact, they will not listen.
They will not listen.
So it depends on your child. Now coming back to diaspora where physical contact is not allowed, you still
Yes.
have to know the type of child. Some children grounded does not work for them. Even if you
No,
grind them 20 times, it doesn't work. Some children taking off their maybe iPad or something does not work for them. They
no
will find
work.
other means of sorting themselves out. So you have to know what works for your child. Some children, you just have to communicate with them. Some children, you just have to tell them, explain to them that what they have done is not good. And then they will feel so bad. They will feel so bad. They will even tell you, oh, we are so sorry about that. So it depends on your child. Some children and you still have to go the hard way, not the physical contact, but we know the hard way you can go in terms of discipline your children.
Like, let me be devil's advocate today. Like what?
Well, for me as I would say for a teenager here, where physical contact is not allowed, I can tell you are going nowhere. It's a punishment.
You stay at
You can,
home.
yeah, you're staying at home. You can have that almighty hangout with your friend. You've told me about it. And if we get to that day you were supposed to go, and I'll just tell you, okay, you're not allowed to go. Oh, of course, as a teenager, he or she will be so furious. Oh no, mom, I have to go. No, you're not going anywhere. Remember, you did this, you did that, and that's your punishment. Go upstairs to your room. Thank you very much.
But
That would be very painful.
for you to get to that point, it means that you've been fair. So
Yes,
that's why
of course.
when you
Yes,
say that,
yes,
then the
yes.
child will know that, okay, maybe I've done too much myself. You know, that kind of thing.
Exactly, exactly.
And you've also built a relationship with the child because
Yes,
you know how sometimes we get so busy with work and we come home, we're tired, we don't really have time to sit down and chat with them, especially when they are teenagers. You know, when they get to the teenage years, they just want to stay in their room. They just want to do their own thing on the way. Do you know what I do? Tuesday, that's my day with my daughter. I'm with everybody, but then for about 3 hours of the day, we have something that we do together, and she knows that that's my time with her. For my son, my son's one is Friday, because that's when his university timetable is less. So I have that time with him. Even if we just sit down and play on our phones, he's on his phone and I'm on my phone. But I'm sitting with him. Sometimes I get up and go into their rooms and I'll just, what are you doing? Hey, show me. If he's playing his game, I sit down with his team, with his console. I can't play games. I can play games, but not his kind of game where you have to press Control C B. That one's plenty. But I will still try, and he'll be laughing, and we sort of have time to chat. We have time to chat. We just, it's a case of, okay, you're not coming to me, so I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you, and I'm going to have this time with you. And each week they know whatever I'm doing, I drop it at that time, and I'm off to them. I think that's the reason why you'll be able to give that child, okay, you're not going out today because you've done this. And that child will understand and say, actually, I've disappointed my parents and I'm going upstairs. If not, some of them will jump through the window and they're out. And I feel those ones that jump out the window are the ones that you've not really, it's just like in the classroom, when you've not really had time to bond with them and you're just coming and you're throwing rules at them, they will look at you. Where are you coming from? No, I'm not doing that. No, I don't want to do that. No, you can't do this. And then, they know all their laws, they know all the rules, they know their rights. They will quote all the rights, So yes, I like that. And would you say that you having that bond with your dad where he allows you a little bit of freedom much more than your mom, did he make you go to him when you had problems, or would you go to your mom instead?
I'll go to my dad because I know he will understand me better.
Yeah.
I
Would
will
you
talk
say
about it. We'll communicate.
exactly?
But if it's my mom will be like, "Ha, no, she didn't do this." But
My mom too. Are you sure we don't have the same mom? My mom would, I think when I grew older and I had my own children, I understood that she was doing it from a place of anxiety, as in, oh my
yeah,
God, this child,
yeah.
something could have happened to you. But
Mhm.
my dad will calmly, he would just, my dad was more of a quiet person, and he would just look at me and take it in and go, I'm sure in his head, he'll be thinking, this child, where do I start with you from? And he
Mm.
would try to do it in such a way that he doesn't get in trouble with my mom too. Because my mom would come and start, why did you allow her to do that? So at the end of the day, what we're trying to say is communication. Your dad communicated with you. Your
Yeah.
dad understood you. Your dad
Yeah.
had that relationship with you.
Hmm.
Classroom, at home, one of the biggest things that we can do for our children is to build this bond with them,
Hmm.
understand them, put 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 ourselves in their shoes, and remember what we were like at that age. I was a terror at that age. Terror in the sense of I wasn't bad, but I just like to do what I want to do. Till today, I still have that stubborn streak where when you tell me, I mean, one of the reasons why I think I've said this on my channel too. One of the reasons why I'm still why I started traveling around the world and teaching was because an agent told me I cannot teach abroad because of my passport. I was like, huh? Really? I'm going to prove you wrong. And many children have this in them. I'm going to prove you wrong. I think it's like your brother bringing the the hardest in the house. Like, what's the worst that can happen? And when a child has that what's the worst that can happen mentality, it's very hard for you to change that child's mind. I know because I was that child. You tell me, no, you can't do that. You don't give me an explanation. You don't. I think I had a scientific mind. You have to explain to me. It's not. I I was very bad at cramming. I couldn't cram because in my head I'm trying to think. But how does it become that? I, I don't understand this. I'm trying to break down the logic behind it. And because I'm trying to break down the logic behind it, I will not do it. I will be stuck there until I can find. I can find the way forward. And I think that's the most thing with children, especially when they are teenagers. You have to know how to meet them at the point of their need. You have to know how to negotiate with them. Negotiating with teenagers comes in different ways. You have to know how to give them options. For example, I give my children options. Eh, okay, would you do this easy one or would you do it the hard way? It's your choice now. I have given you two options that I know I my my blood pressure will cope with. Will you do it this easy way or would you do it the hard way? And if you're going to do it the hard way, that's fine. Good luck with you. I'm here with you and I'm going to be here to support you, but it was your choice. Teenagers like to have a sense of ownership of what they do. Teenagers like to know that they are being thought of. They like to know that you are thinking of them as human beings, not as babies. And I think it's part of the reason why they do what they do, to prove a point. So if we are dealing with teenagers either in the classroom or at home, we have to remember to respect their sense of ownership. They own their body. They are now thinking at a different rate. They are thinking faster. And if we've taught them well and we are sure of what we've taught them, then it's easier for us to see why they behave that way. If a child is insisting, for instance, and I think I had this argument with my parents, my mom was trying to get me to study something else at university, and I refused. I said, it's either I study medicine or I don't study anything at all, or I don't go to university at all. And she wanted me to go to university. She was like, you have to go to university. I know, I want to go to university, but it has to be medicine. She suggested different things, and I refused. Today, I'm not practicing medicine. If we had that relationship where we could have, if she could have explained things to me, if we had that relationship where we could have talked, maybe I would have entered teaching right from then. But no, I first of all went to do microbiology because I wanted to prove to her that this is what I want to do and nobody's going to stop me and I must do it. Now imagine if it was something horrible I was trying to do and she was trying to tell me not to do it. I would have carried on doing it. And it would have turned out really bad for me. So from when children are young, when you want to give them a fruit, for instance, you don't say, here is your fruit. No, here's an apple, here's a banana. So they start learning from young. You want them to eat healthy. No, here's an apple, here's a banana. Choose one. So he's now using his brain. Do I like apple? Do I like banana? I go for the banana. Tomorrow, here's an apple, here's a pineapple. And each time, do you want to go to bed now or will you I will go upstairs, put your brother to bed, and when I come back downstairs, there's no argument. Your homework is finished. You've put your uniform on the bed, and when I come downstairs, you are going to bed. We're not negotiating. So you see, it's almost as if you're giving a child a choice. Go to bed now, and I will do all those things. Or I will take your brother to bed and you do all those things and then you go to bed. You see that child will run to bed fast because they don't want to do any work. They don't want to do it. You were going to do it in the first place. It seems as if you're giving the child a choice, but you've not really given the child a choice. You've made him feel as if he's the one who made the choice himself, but you are the one who made the choice. And I think that's how I bargain with them in the classroom as well. Are you going to do your work gently or let the others work? When the others are going out to play, you will do your work. Choose. It's up to you. It's up to you. I'm not shouting, you are not shouting, nobody's stressed, but you have a choice. Do it now while everybody's in class, or when they finish working and they've gone out to play, you've been playing inside the class, you do your work when they've gone out to play. So children will always have that choice. What do you think about that?
Well, you're right. Sorry, I went off parenting.
No,
I decided to check on the kids.
I carried on keeping them entertained. I hope. I hope you guys are entertained. I kept you entertained because I knew it had to be the children because it's almost their
Yes,
bedtime.
yes, yes. So, just like you were saying, and I'll use the bedtime as example as well. So you
Yeah.
have to give them from starting from when they are young. Children will ask you why.
Yes.
And that is the reason for teachers as well. When we teach our students, there was a topic I was teaching my students. In fact, while planning your lesson, you need to search, if you don't know, what that topic would do for them in the future, because
Yes.
one of them will ask you. You cannot be teaching us
Yes.
about the nucleus and
Quadratic
all that.
equation.
And quadratic,
Yes.
what does
What
that
am
have
I
to
going
do
to do
with
with
me?
it?
Yes, what does that have to do with me? So you should have a reason, and that is also applicable with children. They will ask you why. Even if you fall, they will still ask you why.
Yeah.
If you cook for them, they will ask you why. If you
Yes.
give
Why are we
them
eating
food,
this and not
egg,
this?
and not this one, and then you give them, yeah, exactly, and then you give them reasons. There was a day a friend of mine was telling me that the child told her that the beans in their school is healthier than the beans she's cooking at home. I told her, do you know the reason? Because in school they would give them reasons why the meal,
Why
school meal, is good, but
is
you've
is
not
healthy?
given her reason why your own beans is amazing. So that is just with kids,
Yes.
and that is how they go on and on to the teenage level. So you need to let them, even when, like Jay said earlier, she said she does sexual education for our children. At
Yes.
13, she will do the sexual education. At 16, if you don't tell them why. When
Ah,
my mom was doing my own, she did for me. I think when I was around 12, she did for me. She
really?
didn't tell me. Yeah, she did. But
My mom never said anything.
no, you
Anything. I
know the
learned
kind of
everything on my own.
Jay, you know the kind of sexual education whereby they will tell you, if a man touches you, then you become pregnant. Is
Ah,
that it?
oh, okay, that's the one my mom did too. She did it. She said,
Exactly.
"Ah, your period has started. That's it. If a man looks at you, run, run, run. If he holds
So
your
there,
hand, you're pregnant."
so there was no even avenue for you to ask why. There were,
Yes,
but in this part of the world, your children will ask you why. So, in fact, before you call them and have that communication with them, already just know the whys that you're going to get, and try to get the answers. Yes, the answers you're going to give on the topic you're going to discuss with them,
yes,
because they will ask you. Even if they don't ask you, children, they have this brain that even if they don't ask now, after talking about that particular thing, their brain will continue working,
yes,
and start
yes,
and start thinking about what you have talked about in a lot of ways. So
yes,
before they will go and ask outside, just like we have said, because there are a lot of bad peers, bad influence, before they will go and ask outside and say, oh, my mom talked about this, she didn't give me the reason. Do you know the reason? Because I've been thinking about it. You already gave the reason at home. You already gave the full information at home. So that is where communication
fine.
comes in. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So that is where communication comes in. Everything still comes back to communication when it comes to teenagers.
Yes. And if your husband is not okay, so when my children were younger, I told my husband, I said, ah, you are a man. He's here, he's laughing. You are a man. Honey, come and say hi to everyone. I'm putting you on the spot today. Come, he's always here when I'm doing my live. So today I'm going to bring him so that people will see him. So I told him, I said, children are growing. You are a man. You have man parts. I'm a woman. I will take care of the daughter. You will take care of the son.
Mm.
He said, ah, that's for school to do. He said, that's the school. It's the school that will do that. So if you have a husband like mine who thinks, oh my God, because I think because he didn't get that kind of education too. He got the kind of education that I got too. Don't go near a girl is what he got. My own, I got if a man holds your hand, you will
You are
get pregnant.
pregnant.
If he looks if your eyes link up with a man's eye, you are pregnant. In fact, if a man sits beside you, you are pregnant straight away. So you know me, I was that kind of child. I was like, really? Is that how people get pregnant? Mm. So I held this same this same friend of hers who has his son because we grew up together. I used to do sleepovers at their house, and they used to do sleepovers at my house when we were younger. By the time we now turned 13, we're not allowed to stay together again. So I held his hand. A week later, I was watching. I was waiting to see if my tummy will start. You see this steps that got me to that kiss. I
Mm.
was waiting. I was like, my tummy is not getting bigger. Sometimes I will even ask her, Mom, is my tummy is getting bigger? She didn't know I was asking her that question. She didn't know I was doing my own little experiment in the corner. She said, No. How long will you know if there's a baby in your tummy? She said, from 2 weeks. She didn't know. She said some people have morning sickness, but after some time you just start getting fatter. Then she said in her own case, her nose used to get bigger and all those kind of things. So every day you see me in front of the mirror looking at my nose to see if it was going to go bigger. After a while, I thought that's not true. I've held his hand so many
Mm.
times. I didn't get pregnant. What else did they tell me will
Mm.
happen? I want to experiment. We'll sit together. There was a day I even sat on his lap. I was like, maybe this is how the pregnancy will happen. Then I thought, maybe we need to stare in each other's eyes. We'll stare in each other's eyes. And all this time, me and him were, do you understand? We're teenagers, so we're starting to look at each other in a funny way. And meanwhile, I was doing my own experiment in the corner. So the day he kissed me, I was like, today is the day the pregnancy entered. When the pregnancy didn't enter, no, not it even made me not believe a lot of things anymore.
Mm.
I didn't believe a lot of things, and there's nothing as bad as a parent putting a lot of effort into making sure the child stays in one narrow way, and then the child is doing her own experiment and seeing that all that one that they were saying. That's maybe it happens to other people, but not me. I'm the one that, in fact, I'm more powerful than everybody. So you can imagine if only she had told me the truth. I know she was trying to protect me, but if only she had told me the truth. I think some parents find it hard to talk about such intimate things with their children. Some things are just harder for some parents. Sometimes some parents, it's hard because it's not how they were brought up. As the world is changing, parenting styles are changing too. And when you bring your child from Nigeria to the diaspora, you've multiply that rate of chemical reaction, I mean, how would I put it now, by 100. Because where things will happen gradually in Nigeria, change will still happen. You bringing your child from Nigeria to the diaspora, the change has happened times 100, times 1,000. The food is different. The way children talk to adults here is different from the way children talk to. So you have to keep up with it, and the talk will have to follow it. Last week I said you will talk and talk and talk and talk. Explaining why is talking. Explaining sexual education is talking. Explaining every single thing. I'm giving you beans today because this beans has proteins, it has fiber, it has legumes. Because the teacher is doing it in class, you better be doing it at home or else you will lose that child. You will talk, and you have to be patient when you are talking, and that patience will want to drive you mad because in all of that you have your own job that you are doing, especially if you're a teacher taking care of other people's children. It's a lot of talking. It's a lot of talking, but we will get there. Oh, help us, God. We will get there. We will get there.
Amen. Amen.
Oh my goodness. So, what about balancing, apart from teenagers, balancing their first relationship? Imagine your child has a relationship. How do you balance that? Because I know how I balanced oh my God, it was something else. Ah,
Well, because I have younger kids,
mhm.
I don't know how we're going to do that yet, but I think fine. We're still going to communicate about it.
Yes,
Communication is key because I didn't have that privilege. Who born you to tell your mom that you have a relationship?
a
Ah,
boyfriend.
a
Ah,
boyfriend. Hmm. You are in soup. Even when my husband came to our home the first time, oh no. My mom was everywhere. It was my dad, same my dad, that called me. Oh, okay. Your mom told me someone came to the house yesterday. I was in 300 level. I was not even, yeah, I was not a teenager.
300 level. Wow, that's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
So,
You're
so
a
my
good Christian girl.
So my dad called me the following morning and he was like, "Oh, your mom said someone came into their house yesterday. Your friend came into the house yesterday. Fine. He wanted. I didn't even know if we were dating. So my dad said, "Oh, I was just advising me that you're no longer young. That if probably a suitor sees you around men, he might have a wrong impression, or are you dating?" Though I knew he used the adult sense. He wanted
Yes.
to know, yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
or
Of
are you
course.
dating? And I said yes. Oh, okay, okay. Then he had some question. He said, "Oh, that's fine. You're no longer young. At least you're in 300 level. You're no longer. You just be careful. Just a little." But my mom was. She wasn't happy with the conversation. I was sure because she was just, mothers.
Of
Oh,
course.
yes,
I
yes.
know
So
how we are. We mothers, we
overprotective.
too much.
Yes.
Sometimes it's too
So
much. Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
so I think if that happens, and then I know my children will get to that age at some point, we are definitely going to talk about it, because if I don't talk about it with them, they will hide it from me. They will
Yes, they
hide it.
would.
Yes, they
Yes,
will
they would.
hide it from me.
Ah, they
Yes, they
would.
will. Even as at that time, I wanted to hide my now husband, then boyfriend, but he was ready to come and show himself. Oh, this is the person. He was ready. I was. Let's just do this secretly, but he was ready to. I was not ready because I knew how dramatic my mom was. So you're just going to talk. You're just going to talk about it because if you don't talk about it, they would definitely meet somewhere else where you're not going to know
Yes.
what is happening. So yes, so you just have to talk about it.
My own, I knew how dramatic my mother is. She's still a dramatic person. I love you, mom, but you are dramatic. I know you will watch this and I know you are dramatic. So, yes, take it from me. And you know me, you gave birth to a drama child. So, my mom is very dramatic. And so every time I think I had a boyfriend every month from the day I turned 17. Every month I had a new boyfriend. When I say my life, I'm a drama queen. I am a drama queen. I had a boyfriend every month, and it is whenever they got to that point where I felt uncomfortable around them. I felt like they wanted something that I couldn't give. You know, when it starts getting to the intimate side, then
Mhm.
I run away. I come up with an excuse. For anyone who have dated in the past, I'm really sorry. This is a good time for me to confess my sins. Whenever we got to the time when I felt they wanted to always have me in a corner, they didn't want me because sometimes we'll all be with our friends, and then you see the boy hold your hand, he wants to move you to a corner. That's when I would decide, I have a headache. I have this. I have this. Before you know, you come to my house. I'll either my younger brother or my younger sister. I will tell them, I'm not feeling well. By the time you come to my house 3 times and you see that I'm not feeling well, and then you try to talk to me and I don't answer you, and I'm always with my friends, I think they will get the gist and they will go away. Now, if I had had a good sexual excuse me, if I had good sexual education, it might have helped me understand that just communicate with them. It's good to communicate with someone who you're dating or something. So, but I always made sure my mom will be the first person to know. Mom, I have a new boyfriend. She will first of all go, oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Omo, you need me. And somewhere, somehow, I used to like to look at her drama each time to like, today, which drama are you going to give me today? Then she was, my mom grew up partly in the UK. Part of her childhood was in the UK, or part of her growing up years was in the UK. So she was in Devon, but somewhere somehow she came to Nigeria and became Mama Nigeria, and so even though she will bring us up with some parts of her childhood. Some parts of her childhood, she wants to be real Nigerian to the core. So I didn't understand. So for me, it was like, why are you different from your friends? Because most of her friends too, were like that. They were just chilled because of their upbringing. Part of their upbringing was in the UK, and this was in the 60s. Those kind of things. So for me, I was like, why are you behaving different? Your friend, Auntie Franca, she's different. Olamide's mom is different. This one is different. That one is different. But she want to do. I don't understand what she wanted to do. She was very dramatic. She wanted us to be saints. Up will be no boyfriend up until the day before your birthday, and then on the day of your birthday that you turn 20 or 21, there'll be a man who'll do igbeyawo and then we'll marry and go. How does it happen? Me,
Oh.
I was there doing my own experiments in the corner. So anytime any boy that I like asks me out, I'll say yes. Without even thinking, I'll say yes. Then I will run home. I'll say, come and visit me at home, come and meet my mom. So every time I brought my every time I brought them home, she always, it was like extra gray hair would just sprout in her hair. So you can imagine by the time I was now in university, going to university, she was panicking. She was like, if I can do all this under her roof,
Mm.
what will I do in university? Funny enough, when I got to university, I didn't have any boyfriend. I refused to have any boyfriend because it was like there was nobody. I was not trying to tease anybody. I was not
Mm.
trying to prove anything to anybody. They I finished proving to my mom. So my university days, I didn't have a boyfriend at all. I was just there. I had a lot of friends, but no boyfriend until my final year when I now had a boyfriend and he became my husband. So, but my mom was not. If my mom was in university with me, I would have had a boyfriend every single month when I was in university. So you can imagine when I had my own children, you can imagine how much drama I gave my mom. I could have gone two different ways. I could have been the overprotective mom, or I could have been. I know what I was like. I better chill with these children, or else they'll give me extra. They will give me double of what I gave my mom. My sister, on the other hand, was say Holy Mary. My sister did not have a boyfriend until she finished. It was at NYSC. She met someone, and 2 months later, she got married to the person. So you can imagine two different children from the same mother, from the same
Mm.
family. So it was just you have to understand your children. You have to be less dramatic. You remember last week we were saying it, when they talk to you, don't say ha.
Mm.
No, say, hmm. So
Mm.
what happened? Because if you have a child like me, that ha that you do all the time, you will do it until you are tired. Because I will make sure you do that ha ha ha. In fact, you will shout, hey! Hey, then I'll be happy. I'll be like, yes, I think today's drama was just enough. Tomorrow's drama has to be more than that. You have to understand your children. You have to, even in the classroom, the children in the classroom are like that. The children
Mhm.
in the classroom are like that. If they know that if they push your buttons, you're the kind of person that
Mhm.
pushes your buttons a little,
Yeah.
and you push yourself a lot, they will be doing it over and over and
Yeah.
over, and they will frustrate you. Then,
Mm.
if they know that you're the kind of teacher that if they just bring out their phone, the whole place will be shaking.
Mhm.
They will be bringing out their phones all the
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
But when they bring out their phones and you look at them and say, what are you looking at? No problem. You can either put the phone away and do the work, or when everybody has gone outside is when you will do your work. So play your
Mm.
play now. Then that child will think, no, actually, I don't want to do that. Because I was that child that will bring out my phone and tell you and look at you. I will even bring it up so that you will look at me and be looking at the phone so that, let me see what she's saying now. Is she getting upset? Good. Now let's see how upset I can get this teacher. You know that. You know that. I was a handful. I was a handful growing up. I wanted to see how far I could push my teachers, my mother, my father. My father was my friend. My grandfather was my friend. My father was my friend. In fact, my grandfather was my best friend. I remember when I was at secondary school, because I was in boarding school at some point in my secondary school, FGG Cesaria, and we had what do you call it? Not prom night, a social night at school, and we rapped this really horrible song, and I rapped that song as if I was the one that sang the song. I even added extra ad lib to it, and we all got sent to detention for that. When my grandfather came into school, he didn't say anything. He just came, put me in the car, drove home, didn't say a word, even asked me, have I eaten? I said, I was afraid to answer if I had eaten, or I was like, why is he asking me if I've eaten? He should be shouting. But he's not shouting. Am I in trouble? I can't gauge his reaction. I don't know. So that was what was on my mind. So I was quiet and I was thinking. So when we got home, he allowed me to go to bed. He didn't say anything. Didn't say anything. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't sleep that night because I was thinking, what was he thinking? Why is he not reacting? Why is he not shouting? Why is he not, punishing me? Physical, no physical, nothing. So the next day he called me and said, you have to always remember that the way people see you is a currency. And if they see you less and less, as your value diminishes all the
Mm,
time.
mm,
That stuck with me till today.
mm,
He didn't flog me. That's all he said. And he said, go, you can go and read a book, go and do anything you want to do. And he just walked away, just like your dad did. And I'm like, that touched me a lot more than all the shouts, all
mhm.
the physical punishments that I've ever received in my life. That stayed with me till today. And that must have been about what, 30, 32 years ago. I still remember it till today. So we have to remember that whatever we do in our children's lives leaves a lasting impression.
Yeah,
Losing control does not help.
yeah.
They will laugh. Even if they don't laugh, to them it's like, and we expected that. But if you give
Mm,
them what they are not expecting, like
mhm.
silence,
Yeah.
it's worse than I was ready to go and bring the king to give to my grandfather. Okay, just flog me now so that it's over. Because I don't
Mm,
understand where we are in this funny, we're in this funny place where you are not talking, but I know I've done something wrong, but I don't understand why you're not reacting. I don't I can't get, I'm not getting the vibe. Show me something. When he now said that, that was the only thing he said. He said, people, the way people view you. I'm not saying live your life thinking about what people will say, but remember that your value is a currency, and the more people see you in a bad light, the less your currency becomes in the world. And that just opened my mind. What do you want to add to that?
well, you said everything.
Somebody's looking at me and thinking, this Jay, she's a real drama queen. Shout.
No, you've actually said everything. In fact, everyone watching today, if you have a teenager or you have younger ones like me that will soon get to the teenage age, we've learned a lot today. You've said everything actually. You said everything. I don't think I have anything to add again. I don't think so. Yes, yes, you've said everything. And
That part,
I also use the method in which I can relate with what she said in the classroom. Sometimes my students will bring out their phone and I'll just look. They know it is wrong. So
yes,
they just want to test your patience. They just want to see what we misdo. And then
yes,
I'll just look at them like this. You know, I was telling someone that my students in my classroom, we use this attitude, is it attitude, or I'll say ways of communication in Nigeria, whereby they will say Omo mojudas in Yoruba, whereby you use your
yes.
height to communicate. I
To
use that
talk
a
to the
lot
crowd.
in my class, and they know I'll just do like this. I wouldn't even speak. I wouldn't even talk. They'll be the one telling themselves, "Oh, Miss doesn't want that."
And you can
I'm
see
not
she's not.
even shouting. Yeah,
Yes, because you are not reacting. Other teachers will react. You are not reacting. So in their head, they are thinking, ah,
exactly.
is it worse that is going to come? Better put it away because we don't want to
Mm,
see you.
ex-
Like, yeah.
exactly. And they think, oh, okay, is she? Some of them will even be thinking ahead of what I've not done. Oh, she has pressed the on call button. Oh, then she's doing. Oh, she's going to give us attention. Oh, I'll just be
Yes.
smiling. He'll be thinking
Meanwhile,
that I'm not even doing anything. So yeah,
they
you're
punish themselves in their minds. That kind of
ex-
thing. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So yeah, you're right. Thank you for educating us today.
Someone said, how did I handle my child's relationship? Um.
Mm,
So with my daughter, let me start with my daughter. When my daughter had she had a boyfriend, and she came home, she told me, because I have that relationship with them where we talk we talk a lot, a lot. this is the thing. You will talk, you'll be vulnerable, you show them that, look, when I was young, I was not a saint too. I was not a saint. So I understand what you are going through. But just remember that whatever you do, I'm on your side. And remember that at the end of the day, if you feel uncomfortable in whatever you're doing, it means that your sixth sense is telling you that you should not be doing that. So even if I'm not there and you're hanging out with friends, for example, and you guys are all doing something that your mind is telling you, hey, hey, then you should not be doing it. I don't need to tell you. So let your moral compass, let your inner moral compass be your guide. That's what I always tell them. And they understand what that means. So when she had a boyfriend, she came home. I'm always saying, I'm a very proactive mom and everything. I was like, my daughter. In my head, I was like, oh, my daughter. The first thing that came out of my mouth was this: am I not spending enough time with you? I said, am I not spending enough time with you? You can tell me if I'm not spending enough time with you. She said, no, that's not the reason why. I said, but if you want attention, I can make more time instead of 3 hours with you, only you. Maybe we go to a spa or we go for our nails, or I'm with you all the time, but those 3 hours are for you on this day, and you know that I will drop everything. She said, no, mom, you give me too much time. I just need other people's attention. And I said, okay, but remember, if you're not comfortable, it means that you should not be there. She said, Mom, stop preaching. You've taught me enough. You've taught me enough, and I know what I'm doing. A week later, she came home. She was like, he's too clingy, safe. I beg, she's not in the mood for any boyfriend now. So her own relationship lasted a week. She was like, no, she's not in the mood. That when she wants to be with her friends, because all of them were friends, and then suddenly now he's her boyfriend. He wants them to be hanging out, walking together. And she was like, what about my friends? I'm only going to, this is the only time we have in our lives for us to do all these things together. So you join us, but in way you want to pull me away so that only me and you. Why do you have a need to have me, only me and you in the corner? I'm not ready for that yet. That's for older people. We're young. Let's just go back to being friends. The boy cried for a week, came to my house. He was like, he really likes my daughter. I said, but at the end of the day, if you like someone and the person doesn't like you with that same intensity, maybe you guys are meant to be friends. Continue being friends, and then you see where it goes from there. Today he's dating somebody else. She's not dating anybody. She has not dated anybody since then. She said boys are too clingy. She wants to spend time with her friends, doing things with her friends, and that's where that has ended. So I didn't need to tell her no. Can you imagine if I had told her, boyfriend, don't do that? She will continue in that relationship just to prove me wrong, because she's my daughter, and that's what I would have done. With my son, he got his first girlfriend when he turned 19, and they were at college, they were girlfriend, boyfriend. But I made him understand something. Boys are more, they want more intimacy at that age. Is girls just want attention at that age. Boys want intimacy at that age because their own biological clock starts earlier than ours, or let me put it that way, and ends faster than ours, or something funny like that. So I told him, I said, you have to remember that it's not about pleasure. You have to remember that you have to protect her as well, because she could be your sister. Imagine your sister is in a relationship, and she's in a relationship with someone who just wants to be intimate. He's not thinking about her cycle. He's not thinking about her life. He's not thinking about how an unwanted pregnancy will affect her. He's not thinking about anything. He's just thinking about himself. Is that the kind of relationship you want your sister to be in? He said no. Then if you don't want your sister to be in that kind of relationship, this is somebody else's sister. So you have to make sure you protect her. You have to make sure that you think about her. You have to make sure that she's safe first before you. Because thinking about all those things in a relationship with someone means that you care about the person. If you're in a relationship with someone and you cannot think about all those things for the person, it means you should not be in a relationship with the person, because you don't really like the person that much. So that's what I told him. We had already had the condom talk. We had already had the sexual reproduction talk. The real sexual reproduction talk, not the one that my mother gave me. The real sexual reproduction talk, where we talk about menstrual cycle, With my son, yeah, I talk about menstrual cycle. I talk about how to count a girl's menstrual cycle, how to support her when she's in her menstrual cycle, how to make her feel happy, make her feel wanted, make her feel loved, make her feel like you care about her. And by the time you are counting her menstrual cycle with her, it means you are understanding her day to day activities, her mood swings, what comes first, what comes next, how to support her, how to give her hot water but to rub her back. Don't come and be talking nonsense near her because at that point in time, she doesn't want to hear. Now, when you put all that effort in, you see, you are helping the child. Because a lot of women complain about, oh, a man is doing this, a man is doing that. It comes back to us mothers. We're not bringing up our sons properly. Because if we
Yeah.
bring our sons up properly, then women outside will not complain about our sons. And
Mm.
my one goal for my son is to be a good husband, a good partner, a good father. And I don't know, the woman he will marry will tell me if I've got pass mark or not. But I think so far he's doing his best because his girlfriend is just she's amazing. She is amazing. And she always talks about how, oh, he's such a nice person. I say, are you talking with your head or you're talking with something else? And she goes, oh, you're so funny. I'm like, I'm not funny. I'm being serious. Are you talking with your head? Because you need to talk. You need to think about it. It's not about how he makes you feel. It's not about how you feel about him. It's about how he makes you feel. Does he make
Mm.
you feel special? Does he make you feel wanted? This is somebody else's child, though. But I tell her all that because I expect that my daughter should get the same kind of love in whatever family she marries into or she finds herself tomorrow. So, yes, I'm always trying to start with the person in the mirror, and that's me. So that's me and my children. That's how I handle my child's relationship. And but one is in a serious relationship now. He's 22. I've told them they should not marry yet. They should relax and enjoy the company. Grandchildren will come later down the line, but they should enjoy their lives. They can travel together. They can do things together. And she's always welcome in my house. She knows that if she comes to my house, she can be on my bed. She can go straight to my bed. We have the talk. I gave her the sexual reproduction talk too, not because I feel her parents have not told her, but yes, I want to be sure me I'm giving her that same sexual reproduction talk that I gave my children, so that it's not just my son being safe; she's being safe too.
Mm. That's amazing. We're learning, and in fact, I'm supposed to bring a pen and a paper today to come and learn.
It's try
But
see it's
anyways, I have this saved on my channel, so
yes.
I'll
I think it's because I was a handful when I was that age, so I know. Whew, I know what I was. See, I was sometimes I would think about what I would have been thinking, and then I go, okay, I think I'm going to do it this way because of the kind of child I was. And that's why we've come to that point in our relationship now where they can talk about a lot of things. A lot of things. We talk about a lot of things together. My husband didn't have that kind of upbringing. So sometimes he looks at me and he's like, oh, are you not telling them too much? No, I'm not telling them too much. Where will they hear it from? Education starts from home. If I
yeah.
don't educate them from home and I'm expecting somebody else to educate them and then the person doesn't do it, who will I blame? I only have myself to blame. So I do the education myself from home.
Yeah.
Fortune says powerful, great lessons to be learned. Fortune, yes, yes, please. Your children at that age. Oh my goodness. Allow this. Olaiton said Jay was hot. I was not hot. I was just a handful. And you know how men like women that are a handful. I don't know why they like women that are just bubbly and out there, just you know. So that was what I was. Just yeah, a handful. Huh. I don't know. I just used to like to see people's reaction to things. Like, well, how would that person react to this? Oh, really? Oh, okay. It was my scientific mind, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I just couldn't stop myself. So that's it. That's why when my husband married me and he found out I was still a virgin, he was shocked. He said because everybody at school thought I was not. I was like, really? Well, I am. So yes, that's another story for another video like that. So yeah. Today, are we going to tell them a little bit more or are we going to stop? Before we will say, ha, they will say we've given them full encyclopedia today.
Well, I think we should stop here for me because we're talking about parenting. I've been off twice now just to go and check on the kids. I can hear my brain is splitted. One is here, one is one is
Honestly,
where they are. Yeah.
thank you so
So
much. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Do you want to round it up, Omomi?
yes, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much. Thank you for the part one. Thank you, and we have a part two. And I remember something where when we were planning for this live video, in which I'll just chip in, not really in line with what we've discussed today, but still about parenting, is men. I mean, the husband should also help the women. We've been talking about our mothers being Margaret Thatcher. We talk about the father role, the fatherly role. So men should not all push everything to the woman and say, oh, go and meet your mother, go and meet, especially African men. They'll be like, go and meet your mother, go and meet your mother. No, let us train these children. Just like Jay said, her husband handled the boy and she handled the girl. They splitted. Fine, she was also in the boys. She
Yes,
also communicated. Yes, not like it was splitted that you take the boy. No, but men should also, because I see that is common among African families. They'll be like, go and meet your mom, and the mom is the one doing all the
everything. Yeah,
communication, everything. There are a lot of things that mothers cannot handle that the fathers need to come in and handle. And if you're a single parent, probably the husband is not in the picture.
yeah,
Fine, you should communicate. I'm just talking about families that um the husband is there
yeah.
as a father, so you shouldn't be absent in your children's life. So guys, we've come to the end of today's live session. If we remember anything important, I think maybe there will be a part three, but I don't think so. But I don't think so. So thank you guys for joining us today. Hopefully we see next week Sunday, and we'll bring something hot, very hot, for you
Something
next week.
entirely different next week Sunday.
Entirely different. Yes.
We're trying to get 3 or 4 guest speakers on next week,
Yes.
and we're
Yes.
going back to teaching proper. We've talked about teaching that has to do with parenting this past 2 weeks, but next week we're jumping back into teaching proper because there's a lot of things that we want to cover. We want to cover lesson plans. We want to cover report writing. We want to cover a lot more things. So, and with your suggestions, of course, you can see today's segment was someone's suggestion, and it created this. Last week's
Yes.
segment was someone's suggestion. So if you just tell us what you want us to cover, then we will cover it for you
Yes.
for your listening pleasure. So until next week, right? Or are we going to give them a
Yes.
party one? Until next week, guys, have a beautiful week ahead and enjoy your holiday. Wow, everybody's
Yes.
on holiday now. Oh wow, yes, I've been on holiday for 2 weeks, so I think I'm getting to the middle of my holiday now. But yes, it's been a wonderful time. Thank you so much, everyone, and good
Thank
night.
you. Bye.
Bye.